Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So you guys have been dying to know my birth story, so here it is. I hope you guys enjoy, and I want all of you to know that no birth story is ever the same. They are all different. That's what makes them super special to that unique individual. And I'm uploading this video to encourage you new mamas who are approaching your due date that you can do this, and the ultimate goal is just meeting your baby and getting your baby here safely into this world. So let's get started. Morning YouTube. Someone's cranky. So it is May 9th. It is a special day because it's my mother-in-law's birthday, and number two, I am one day out from my due date. Canon is supposed to be here by May 10th, but obviously I'm still pregnant. I have an ultrasound scheduled because since my due date is tomorrow and I'm hitting 40 weeks, they just want to make sure that it's okay for me to go past my due date with Canon to make sure he's looking good and has enough fluid in the placenta to go past my due date. So we're super excited because I haven't seen him in so long. So hopefully he is cooperative today and shows us his little face. Oh my gosh, look at him. You see his eye move? Yep. Did you notice that? Oh my gosh. He was just making faces. Look at that. Hi, bud. All right, so it's hours later after the ultrasound appointment, but everything checked out good. Canon is looking great. He's looking healthy, strong. He has plenty of fluid in the placenta so that he can stay past the 40 weeks. And it was so cool to see his little face. He's perfect. So Wednesday, May 15th, I had a scheduled OB appointment, and at this point I was 40 weeks and 5 days. So I was overdue, or I was past due my due date of May 10th. And the funny part is I actually had my OB appointment scheduled for the 13th, which was that Monday, 2 days prior. But my OB had surgery and she had to reschedule my appointment for Wednesday, so that's why I went in on a Wednesday. My appointment was about 1:30 p.m. and a couple hours before going into my appointment I noticed that I was kind of leaking, and I know that not all cases will your water break and you'll feel this just gush of water. Sometimes you will leak, and that technically counts as your water breaking. So if I didn't have my OB appointment, I would have gone into the hospital, but since I did have my appointment, I just decided to wait until I went in to bring it up to my OB. I'm here at the doctor's office. I'm checking on baby. My water may have broke, so they sent it off to get some lab work done to see if indeed my water did break. And I'm about 3 centimeters dilated right now, so guys, it might be happening right now. I don't know how to feel because I don't feel like I'm in pain, and I just feel kind of normal. And of course I'm here by myself. Adam has been coming to every appointment with me except for today. So anyways, I called them all. I said it might be happening. I'll let you know within the hour once we get the lab results back and we can confirm if it is or not my water. But Canon, I can't wait to meet you. I'm so excited, and it's about dang time. Anyways, I want to show you the whole setup. So yeah. So 45 minutes passes by and my OB comes in and she's like, congratulations, you are in labor, and yes, that was your water that did break. So she told me to walk across the hallway and go check myself in at triage, and that way they could get me situated. So I called everyone and said it's go time. Adam left work and he probably got there about an hour later. So when I called him and gave him like, hey, it's happening, that was probably around 2:30, and then he ended up getting there around 3:30-ish. Also, my mom, who lives out of town, she lives in Phoenix, I let her know at that time as well, and she hopped on the soonest flight out of Phoenix straight to Albuquerque so she could get here for my labor. So anyways, at this point, I'm in triage. I'm not feeling any contractions. My water did break, but I feel fine. I'm 3 centimeters dilated, and they basically wanted to just allow my body to do what it's meant to do and see if I would progress naturally without anything. And that was just a waiting game at that point. It's time. What time is it, babe?
It's Canon time.
It's Canon time. They did talk to me about what my birth plan was. And if you're like any prepared mom, you do have a birth plan. And that's great that you have a birth plan. But just know that there's a high chance that things may not go the way you want. And that's okay, because again, at the end of the day, the most important thing is making sure mama and baby are good to go. So no matter how they get here, whether you do it naturally or whether you get drugs, it's all the same. You're bringing a human into this world, and we want to make sure that both mom and baby are safe. So I had told them that I was not against getting an epidural. I did very, very much want to do the whole thing naturally. But like I said, I wasn't against drugs because I had never done this before. I didn't know what to expect. You think you can handle something until you're into that situation. So I let them know that, I want to try naturally, but if I can't handle it, I'm okay with drugs. Drug me up. So I definitely wanted to try the nitrous oxide, which is a gas that you breathe in. And that was on my birth plan. So I wanted to try that first. And if that didn't work, then I would get an epidural. And so once I told them that, they triaged me, got me into my room, and that hospital that I went to usually delivers about 3 to 4 babies a day. That's their average. Well, at 3:30 at that time, they were swamped, and they had already delivered 10 babies that day. So May 15th, 2019 was a very, very popular day, and that was just exciting. So it took a while for me to get into my room, but once I got into my room, they got me all situated, and they wanted to get everything basically ready to go. And turns out they had nitrous oxide, but they didn't have the tubing to administer it. It was on back order, so NO was basically not an option anymore. So it was either I do this thing naturally or I get an epidural. So that was kind of a bust, because that was what I was really relying on to get me through labor. So anyways, a couple hours passed by. I'm starting to feel my contractions. My contractions are starting to get more regular and closer together, and but it's manageable. I'm feeling it. I can handle it. Around, I would say 5:36, my cervix had not dilated any further than the 3 centimeters that I was. So they wanted to give me Pitocin to basically help my body get this baby out. Because once your water breaks, the protective barrier that protects your baby from the outside world is gone. So the baby has to come out. So they ended up giving me Pitocin through my IV. And as soon as they gave me Pitocin, I definitely started feeling my contractions getting closer together and a bit stronger. And they just started me on some Pitocin to get the contractions going and get the whole process started. So I'm in a little bit of pain, but it's manageable. And yeah, so Canon might come today or tomorrow. Who knows? And my mom came mind you, she flew in. She got there around 7:15, 7:30ish. And she made it, and I was so happy because I was terrified that she might miss it and that I would have had to do this alone with just Adam, but she ended up making it just in time, so I was super grateful. And at this, leading up to that, nurses had been checking my cervix, and once my mom got there, the actual doctor that was on call came in and checked my cervix, and I was about 5 centimeters dilated, and that was being on Pitocin for about an hour and a half. So he checked my cervix, and he noticed that my water didn't fully break. So he told me that he was going to break my water, and then that would get things going even faster. So he ended up breaking my water, which was the craziest feeling ever. And when people say that it sounds like a literal balloon popping, it truly does. So he ended up breaking my water, and he told me baby will be here around midnight to 2 a.m. So this was around 7:30, 8-ish, right? So I was like, awesome, we have some time. I told Adam to go to the car to go get my stuff. And as soon as he left, things got ugly and real quick. Like literally 0 to 100 really quick. So my contractions were getting really bad, but they were still manageable. I was able to get through them through breathing techniques. And the doctor had said baby wouldn't be here till midnight, 2 a.m. So I think 30 minutes go by, and then I had a nurse come in, and she said if I wanted an epidural, now would be the best time to get it, because the doctor that was on call was headed down with the anesthesiologist for a C-section with another mom. So she said you either get it now or you're gonna have to wait to get an epidural in like a couple hours. You won't get it right now. So at this point, like I said, the contractions were bad, but they were still manageable. So I told her I don't need it. If I do need it, I can wait the 2 hours. It felt like immediately after she left, shit got real, and everything just happened so fast. It just happened in the blink of an eye, and I just remember my contractions being so unbearable, and they were getting close together, and I was basically like shaking. I could feel my body shaking, but I couldn't stop it. And I remember looking at Adam, and I'm like, get me an epidural. Like, I want that now. And I swear to God, it had to have been 5 minutes after the nurse left. Okay, maybe 10 minutes after the nurse left. So anyways, Adam goes and gets the nurse, and she comes in, and her exact words were, sweetie, you're not getting an epidural. The anesthesiologist left. You're going to have to wait until after the C-section. And I just remember thinking like, oh my God, what did you do? Your pride got in the way. You had a chance to get an epidural, and now you don't have a chance. So, I had no other choice but to suck it up and to deal with the pain. Like I said, my contractions were getting really close together, and I started dilating fast. I want to say 9 o'clock, I was 7 centimeters dilated already, and things were moving. And I remember at one point, I just felt the need to push, and like this was immediately after they had just checked me, and I was only 7-8 centimeters dilated. But I felt the urge to push, and I told the nurses, like, I need to push. I need to start pushing. This baby's coming out. And I remember the nurses are frantically running around the room, freaking out. Like, I feel like they were like bumping into each other, and I just hear them talking to one another, and they're like, so and so the doctor on call is in the C-section, and then they went to reach out to another doctor, and they were doing something else with another mom, and they were telling me to hold on. And I just remember screaming, saying like, no, I don't think you understand, I need to push. And I had the nurse check me again, check my cervix, and I was basically fully dilated, 10 centimeters already, and she saw the head in the canal. And she looked at the other nurses and was like, this baby's coming. And I remember them telling me to hold on. Where should I go? If you've ever given birth before, naturally, there is no waiting. Like, the baby comes when it wants to come, and I told them I need to push. So basically they said, okay, we can deliver this baby without a doctor. We've done it before. Go ahead and start pushing if you need to. During this time, I guess they called another doctor that was on call and had her come in, and she lived not too far from the hospital. Well, as I'm starting to push, my OB, who has followed me through my entire pregnancy, Dr. Garcia, walks in the door, and just a big rush of relief just like enters my body, because I see her and I'm like, oh my gosh, my actual OB is here to deliver my baby, and she knows me. She knows my history. Like, I'm in great hands. So she literally walked in at the moment I was starting to push, in her chopos, in her pajamas, with her hair up. She looked like she was just about to go to bed. And it was so cool that she was able to be the doctor who delivered Canon. Anyways, she's right there, and I push probably 3 more times, and Canon came out, and I can't tell you how beautiful it was once he came out. The pain that I felt pushing was like no pain that I've ever felt before. It is definitely, hands down, the most painful thing that I've ever done in my whole entire life. And you know, I wouldn't have it any other way, because I just feel so much more connected to Canon. And once he came out, the pain just completely disappeared. And and then having them put him on my chest, it was just the most beautiful moment ever. And it totally made all that pain totally worth it. And honestly, even though I said I wanted that epidural at that moment, I don't think I would have gotten it regardless of if that anesthesiologist was available to give it to me, because I was so past being dilated that, like, you have to be under a certain point to get an epidural, and I think I was past that point of getting an epidural. So regardless, I would have had to do it naturally. And like I said, I'm so happy that I did do it naturally, because 1, I was able to walk immediately after giving birth, and 2, I didn't have to get a catheter, and it just, I don't know, there was no point. And like I said, it was the most painful thing that I've ever done in my whole entire life. But at the end of the day, I got what I went in there for, and it was a healthy, beautiful baby, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Once Canon came out, I did have to get stitched up. I didn't tear too bad. I only had to get 1 stitch. Like I said, I had a birth plan, and it didn't go necessarily the way I had planned it to go, but I'm so happy with how it turned out. Canon Adam Duran was born on May 15th, 2019 at 9:30 p.m. and he weighed in at 6 pounds, 13 ounces, and he measured 19 3/4 inches long. So he was perfect, absolutely beautiful. I was just so mesmerized by him, and just getting that skin on skin contact was just so magical and so calming for both of us. And that day replays in my head over and over again of how perfect it was. So moral of the story, I did the whole thing naturally, and wowza, it was like no pain I've ever felt before. But I want to let you know that if you guys decide to do it naturally, it may seem impossible at the moment, but you will get through it. I promise you, you will make it through to the other side. But anyways, Canon, Adam Duran, I love you so much. You're my baby forever and ever. And I'm so happy that you chose me to be your mama. And you are absolutely my world. You're perfect in every single way. And I love you so much. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed my birth story. This wasn't meant to scare anyone. It was just meant to simply tell my story and share the great news of my baby Canon. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Bye, guys.